Welcome back to Two Veterans, One Cup. And our third has joined. It is now a threesome.
Damn right.
I love threesomes.
It's not a real threesome.
So we actually have three veterans today. All the friends are joining in for this one, and the title of this one today is "How Did We Get Here?" I'm sure everyone has seen the presidential debacle. That was not a debate, and as all of us are disappointed at the to use their own terms optics that gives for the rest of the world. So that's what we're all here to talk about today, and I'll kick it off to Shoshi.
Yo. I don't like any of it. All of it makes me angry. And I hate both of the staunch defenders of our fucking two-party system. We don't have a good option. We just don't.
That's very true, and I believe it's been designed to work that way. Part of the reason why we are where we are now, how we got here, so to speak, is the gatekeeping, I think, that has been put in place to prevent anybody from stepping on the two parties' toes.
There's so many other parties that are objectively better.
I agree.
Hell, I don't even like libertarians, but even y'all do a better job.
I don't know. We put up Chase Oliver, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened.
How did we get there?
Yeah, how did we get there? That's right. Don, take the floor, man. Ooh. I see you're driving. It looks like you actually got some bad connection going on. You're remixing.
Oh no. A Decepticon has entered.
Yeah, it's not coming through too good, buddy. And there he goes.
Is that better?
Yes, that is actually better. I guess your bandwidth is not quite enough to support video too.
My face. Only so much I got it.
You cleared up there for a second.
Damn it.
Damn low budget podcasts.
Hold on.
Anyway. Oh.
From Saturday to Sunday. Come back Sunday, one night.
Yo, how?
Oh, poor John.
You're not in Wi-Fi, are you?
Is that?
Huh?
Hello?
Hello.
Is this better?
Yes, actually, yes. Very much so.
All right. So I would like to start with a correction to your intro.
Okay.
We were not all disappointed. We were not all disappointed by how that debate went.
Okay.
That debate went exactly as I expected. There was no disappointment. It was exactly what I expected.
Okay.
You know, it's just
I guess that
basically
means you were appointed.
think of the think of the expectations of that debate as like going to a fair where they've got a chili cook-off and
Oh,
eating
no.
like three bowls of ghost pepper chili and then taking a dump later that night.
Oh no.
Like it wasn't good, but it's exactly what you expected.
Oh no. Okay. Okay. I see your point.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah,
I mean,
that's my point. Is it was exactly what I expected.
Okay. That's fair.
And that's the problem with two-party system that we created. It's like it's like, for example, you've seen the meme floating around right now with The Simpsons, and it's Bart saying, you know, this is the hottest summer of my life, or this is the hottest summer I've ever felt, and then Homer saying, this is the hottest summer, this is the coolest summer for the rest of your life. That one, same concept. Each year and each election cycle is the biggest shit show we've ever seen. But yet every year they do themselves. The next time it's somehow worse than it was previously.
yeah, it's just like one of those toilets where it flushes for sure, but you gotta hold the lever down and it just slowly goes worse and worse and farther down the drain. And you're just watching them all get fucked.
Right? Yeah, every single time you look at it and you're like, well, I hope it works. That's literally all it is we're just hoping the drain isn't plugged at this point.
I have very little hope.
So
No, like I said, all I'm hoping for is that the drain isn't plugged. That's the best I got.
So what do you
I'm
think,
not hoping for a clean flush.
what do you think it takes for all of these individuals to believe this is working?
The fact that it's working.
No. I mean, like the people that are willing to do things they probably wouldn't be willing to do normally because my candidate here, or people visibly breaking down and crying because their team lost. Like what do you think it is that creates that mentality?
It's working.
No.
Drain
Okay.
washing.
Fair enough. I see your point now. You're saying it's working because it's getting people to do that.
It's the same reason why we get dumber and dumber as a nation every year, even though we spend like $1 trillion on education. We don't spend that kind of money if it's not.
We don't spend that kind of money if it's not working. That's fair. I get it. Okay. I agree with that.
Ultimately, the problem with everything is that it's all being their perspective is just being painted over and over and over again.
This is the most important election ever.
So yeah, this is the most important election ever. Whatever, all of this crap is continuing to pile on. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this election is just as important as Carter's election, as Nixon's election. It's all the same. And they were the same exact people that had the same exact responses. The only difference is they weren't on the news because we had some dignity.
there was still some dignity in his.
Oh no.
Oh man, thank you for that one, Don. Thank you.
We had some fucking dignity. Some class, even.
I think you wanted to bring up the point of the fact that we now have a felon running for office.
Oh, me?
So
Yeah.
I've got tons to say about that.
No, please do.
I will always start with, we can't let a convicted felon own a firearm. They're not responsible enough as a citizen to have that responsibility. But there are certain people in this country, a staggering and startling amount, that think, no, they can't have guns, and in some states they can't have voting rights, but they can certainly run for office, and if they win, get nuclear launch codes and access to one of the largest standing militaries in the fucking world. That seems responsible. So and to pin it to our current felonious candidate, a man who doesn't even have the wherewithal to pay the porn star hush money out of his own account and not the campaign account, we're trusting him to lead the nation. It's like you can't even silence a fucking porn star correctly. I don't see how we say that they don't have the mental capacity to make good decisions, and that's why they can't do all these things, but we're willing to overlook it because, you know, a cult of personality.
That's funny. I have to say that's hilarious. Yes, Trump. Had you just done this the right way, you wouldn't have created this problem. That was a bad
Right, because there's
business
nothing
decision.
illegal about like paying for a gag order. It's like, hey, I would like you to be quiet. Is there a monetary value that can buy your silence? Yes. And for someone who says he's very rich, he is one of the richest men, like, come on, man, you've got to have a couple $100 grand lying around.
Yeah,
and smartest. He's the smartest. But yet he doesn't understand the basic concept of a fucking NDA.
Right.
Here's a non-disclosure agreement. Move on with our lives.
In fucking deed.
Come on.
I think that's honestly a great time to point out some things, though, too.
That's what you just have to expect. You just have to expect.
Presidential powers were meant to be limited, and if you actually read the decision on the presidential immunity from the Supreme Court, they acknowledge, the presidential immunity is not infinite. So all this bullshit talk about, oh, he'll send in the Navy SEALs to kill his opponents. No, that would never be considered a lawful order from the president.
However, on that topic,
right,
with the amount of appointees on the Supreme Court that were appointed by Trump and have obviously made some really fucked decisions, as evidenced by Roe v. Wade being overturned, they're not the most reliable to make decisions. And I feel that because of personal biases and how things run, if one of them is president, a presidential act can be defined much differently than a candidate that they don't like.
I appreciate you pointing that out. Yes, the politicization of the courts has gone way too fucking far. And
it really has. It's insane that we have to wonder, like, is the law being administered correctly?
Exactly, and it's go ahead.
Oh no, I'm shaking my head in fucking disgust.
I
am mixed-sickened.
It's coming from both sides. You're absolutely right. There's the politicization, starting with Congress, Senate, presidencies, is now bleeding into the courts to where it's almost humorous because, like, if it came from this district, obviously it's going to be tilted this way, and it came from that district, obviously it's going to be tilted this way, and that should never be the case. It should be,
Right.
simply following the intent of the Constitution. And it's kind of disgusting, honestly, at this point, that it's gone that far.
Their willingness to believe certain things is astounding. Like, especially like, there's no contest that Sleepy Joe is fucking out of his gourd. Like,
Yep.
there's nothing going on. The bats are out of the belfry.
Well,
But on the other side, Trump never incited insurrection. The trial was rigged. The election was stolen. Everything is a sham, and it's just like the mental gymnastics people are able to perform just to justify their candidate or their party is bewildering.
oh yeah. The funniest part to me was even him catching the felony, the Justice Department's steps that they took just to elevate it to felony levels. And I find that really sad. But then you see these situations happening in states where people are trying to do the right thing, and I feel, like I said, I have a little bit of, I guess, a different bias on Roe versus Wade. I'm sad that it got overturned in the way that it did. I was hoping that states would do the right thing. I don't think Roe versus Wade should ever have been a federal situation. I feel like it should have been in states. I feel like Roe versus Wade should have been a stopgap to where states took the initiative to do the right thing. But now you see states so polarized by it, to like Texas. That's so fucking sad.
Not only for the moral implications of abortion laws and stuff, the livelihoods it's affecting, the amount of healthcare providers that are leaving these states just because they don't want to accidentally do something that someone could see as an aid to abortion. So now OBs are fucking fleeing states, and women who aren't even looking for abortion help or anything like that are now left without proper gynecological care.
Yeah, it's really sad. The ideology has left reason, off the table.
Right.
I'm sorry, you've been quiet, Don.
Oh yeah, let me touch on a couple points. Let's see here. First off, here. Can you guys still hear me successfully?
Yes.
Absolutely. You're coming in loud and clear.
All right. So first off, when it comes to wondering whether justice is being served, wow, I thought you were old enough now that you wouldn't be wondering anymore.
No.
Remember, I'm only 30. I'm only 30.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you should have seen it by now.
No.
Go to the gas station. We didn't get any cold Gatorade.
Yeah, you should have. You should not be surprised and or wondering. Justice has been bought, paid for, and delivered.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys still there?
What were we talking about
There we
earlier?
are.
Yeah, the ATF backed up to shenanigans.
Yeah, the ATF has never not been at shenanigans. Don't forget Waco. Never forget Waco.
And Ruby Ridge.
Ruby Ridge.
Ruby Ridge and Waco are two examples of the ATF standing tall and saying, "We did this right."
with their whole chest.
Remember that.
No.
So they believe they handled those right. That was the way to go. So remember that when you're looking at is justice being served? Excuse me, is justice being served? Has justice been served? Is the law this? Can we trust this politician, that politician? Just remember, the politicians that guide this, that guide all of them, agree that the ATF, they got it right. They saved us.
We nailed the terrorists. Good job, boys. Now make sure you scrub our prints off those guns we gave you.
Well,
Exactly.
I have to think.
Gatorade?
What's the best way to word this? I believe that these political parties put so much importance on the presidency and getting their candidate no matter what, even to the point where, let's just face it, both parties are probably rigging votes. And they just,
Probably.
I have no doubt in my mind that there is vote rigging but it's being done by both sides. So them pointing the finger at each other is just it's like that meme with Spider-Man where all three Spider-Mans are pointing at each other. That's honestly what it is.
Everybody shouting, "You're a crook."
You're a crook. Yeah. But
So are you familiar with gerrymandering?
oh yeah,
Yes.
no. That's the classic, yes. But
Let's redefine district lines so we can do a little bit better.
well, the point I was getting to though was they put so much importance on it because of executive agencies just like the ATF. All those executive agencies have taken power out of Congress and the Senate and put it in the hands of a presidential executive agency to where the elected officials don't even have any say in anything anymore. It's all this non-elected, executive agency.
I agree. The fact that so much of this shit is appointed by a president, I think is wrong. Like those should be like you got to vote for sheriff. Have people vote for that shit too.
Yeah.
See, and that's the core of the issue is I know it sounds weird, but the problem of it is that we vote for too many people. That's the problem. In my opinion, the Senate, as it originally was, the Senate has no business being voted in any way, shape, or form. The Senate should not ever be voted in. The Senate should not be done by popular vote because that's not the purpose of the Senate.
Right. That's the representatives that we should vote for.
Right.
Literally, the House of Representatives, it's in their fucking name. They are the representatives that get voted in. The Senate needs to be assigned by state to protect state rights and be impugned from whatever pisses off the people. They need to be absolutely secondary to whatever pisses off the people. They need to be protecting the state's rights from federal overreach.
From the federal government.
They
Yeah.
don't do that. Yeah. The
How do we
senators,
protect the government from the government?
Well, kind
well,
of.
that's the thing is the way we protect the government from the government, or the way we protect the government from the government is the senators represented the states, not the people. They represented the states, and you had to get the senators and the representatives to agree to move things forward. That's what it was. That's what it is. But that's when the senators were assigned by the states as the representative of the state, not the people of the state, so that we have a balance, so that when a bill comes up, the state checks to see if it's good for the state, and the people check and see if it's good for the people. And if it's good for the state and it's good for the people, then let's move on it. If it's not good for the state or it's not good for the people, then they can sit and fight until it goes away, because that's what it's supposed to be. If a law isn't good for the states and the people, the law shouldn't exist. And that's what we've lost.
Yes, that is what we have lost. And now things are being judged by agencies that there's absolutely no one voting on those people. They don't represent the states. They don't represent the people. They represent their own interests. And that's who's making decisions about things.
Those who assigned them.
What's that?
They represent the people that assigned them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They
Or
represent them.
or Pfizer, getting people into the FDA because they represent Pfizer. Or Johnson and Johnson.
Our entire government is bought and paid for by somebody, and it's never us. These government agencies will represent the interests of, the president that assigns them to those positions. The
Who donated
senators
my
and
war chest?
representatives are always going to be beholden to the lobbyists. So at no point is this government set up for us anymore. It's like I said in the preamble, this is just a business.
Yeah. It's who donated more money for me to get enough airtime to get votes.
I'm sorry, sir, you have not paid enough for me to give a fuck.
Shit.
Put a 1 and 3 zeros behind that, and you got yourself a deal.
That I think that's exactly how we got here. I see Trump as he wanted the presidency because that suits his business interests.
Right.
I mean, he set up his family members as his dignitaries and representatives in situations. So that's all just business interests for him. And that's exactly what he's also going to represent as a president is business interest.
And that's evidenced by, the ties to the Heritage Foundation, as well as what the hell is his version of 2025? Something 47? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole Trump 2025 thing, I mean, that's already been, shown to have been a Biden campaign situation. But that being said,
not from what the hacktivist community is finding.
I could be wrong. I don't know about the most recent news.
Oh my God, you're gonna love this. So a community of gay furry hackers.
Oh, I heard about that
200. Yeah. And exposed that one, they are committing egregious tax evasion. They're filed as a non-profit organization.
Well, what huge business isn't doing tax evasion? That's par for the course.
But when you're jamming your dick into a lot of political discourse, you should know that you're going to be under deep scrutiny. So if you're lying to the federal government while vying for consolidation of power, maybe don't not pay the tax.
What was it? I mean, everything, I believe every word they say on stage. That's the thing. Not in the intention where people that it's meant to be taken, but no. Let's see exactly what they said.
Right.
They're not lying. They're not. They're telling you exactly what they're going to do. You're just probably taking it and, oh, this is going to be good for me, and not really listening. That's what I think the problem is with a lot of people. They're watching these speeches and all that.
Yeah. And it's sad that we've come to a point where I have to question everything a potential leader says to me, and I can't take anything at face value. So now I have to look through 17 different fucking websites, articles, and news sources to find out if anything's actually true.
Yeah.
Oh, the easiest way is to just assume they're all lying and start from there.
That too.
That's true.
I've
discovered it's a lot easier to verify that they're telling the truth than it is to prove that they were lying. So just assume they're all lying, and then every once in a while you can verify that they were telling the truth about something.
That's absolutely. I like that. I think I'm going to take that with me in my everyday life.
Well, the other thing, Don, though, is that they're not actually trying to hide that much anymore. They're just flat out saying it.
That's true.
Like, for instance, you hear, a lot of people from Joe Biden's camp saying, no, the inflation's good. They're not lying. The inflation's good for them. That's the truth.
I do hate when people like blame Biden for the gas prices. And it's like, can we go back and look at the shit that happened in COVID with like the OPEC decisions? This didn't just happen. This was kind of like 4 years ago.
Well, yeah, that's a thing that a lot of people should look at. Is it's not directly the president; it's how good the president has been treating OPEC.
Trump is the one who ordered them to dial back on oil production, especially the Saudis, and they just never went back to it.
Well, I think to be fair on that one, they were trying to negotiate the whole Canadian oil deal thing, which he was going for a different route, but I don't think that means you should be destroying foreign relations at the same time. You shouldn't be ordering them to do anything. Just leave them the fuck alone.
I have an idea, and hear me out here. This might be crazy, might be a little extreme, but can we sell America to Canada? Canada seems to be chilling.
I don't want Trudeau.
Yeah, but like they got way more rights than we do.
Well, yes, but no. I mean, you heard about the laws they were passing up there in Canada, where you could have your bank account shut down just because they didn't like what you were saying. That was kind of bad.
We can do that here with reckless abandon.
That's yeah. The ATF, FBI,
the Patriot Act was
CIA,
expanded.
Jesus Christ!
It's like, I see you're a threat to national security, so I've frozen all of your assets, and you're not allowed to leave state lines anymore.
I do believe there should be closer ties between the U.S. and Canada. I think that would probably be good to have a conversation going. I mean, we are direct neighbors, but we haven't been great to our neighbors historically. So
no, not even a little.
I'm surprised Canada hasn't built a wall yet.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. I would like to point out that there's no way that the Patriot Act was expanded. That was just a temporary program to guarantee that we won the war on terrorism. Like nobody would use that anymore. Why would they ever do that?
Yeah, just like Guantanamo Bay is shut down. Like nobody uses Guantanamo Bay anymore.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Like, what are you guys talking about? You conspiracy nuts. How dare you?
That was a fun one when a lot of the conspiracy theorists could say, no, they're not theories anymore. Too many of them have been proven to be facts.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I'll wear that badge proudly. I don't even care.
Yeah, it's just circling back to what Don said at the beginning, where he wasn't disappointed. We're at a weird place where like nobody's really even that surprised anymore. Like this shit happens and it's like monumental shit, and you're just like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. I think that's the desired outcome. Because we're not surprised about shit like that anymore. And on top of that, we're so easily swayed to just be nasty and violent to each other. And like, no, you would not be, Schindler trying to save people in Nazi Germany. far too many people would be there diming out Anne Frank.
Oof. That hit home.
Sorry, that was.
No, you're fine.
But I honestly believe that to be true. All these people.
It is, and it's true all throughout history. Like everyone's like, I would never own slaves. It's like, if you lived in the time, you probably would have.
Yeah.
You're not the good person that you think you are.
But it's made okay because they're listening to these, for it being the most accurate statement, they're propagandists in DC telling people that that's what they should be doing, and they're buying it, and it feeds their ego, or it makes them feel better for some fucked up reason, and they're willing to swallow, no, you can't see grandma as she's on her deathbed because COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was fucked.
Yeah.
But like even everyone's so short-sighted about that, and they're pointing fingers. They did this. This person did this. It's like, why weren't we fucking prepared? Like, why have we gutted the healthcare system that far that we weren't ready for this eventuality? Because it's not like it's new historical. Like every 100 years, there's an epidemic of some disease or virus or whatever. We should have systems in place that are ready to roll out immediately. Like, hey, we've got this many cases of this shit. All right, let's do fucking plan B.
I have a conspiracy for you on that one.
Oh, God damn it. This is going to make way too much sense.
I'm not going to touch anything other than this. Ivermectin was proven to be effective by doctors across, multinationally. And yet, ivermectin is so cheap. There was no pharmaceutical company that was going to make money off of that one, or feel that they were making enough money off of it. You only get an FDA approval for emergency authorization if there is no known treatment. Many doctors were having success with ivermectin, and yet that was chosen and willfully ignored, because that vaccine, which has been proven to have not fit the definition of a vaccine, was worth way more to the FDA and all their friends in high places.
Right. I didn't take the vaccine either.
I will steal the soapbox after when it's my turn.
Please.
Oh, it's your turn. Go ahead.
All right. So in response to why weren't we prepared? The answer is we were. We are.
We were, yes.
That's it. Okay. So let's just say I'm trying to think of how to be vague about this.
How to not get us shut down completely, or have people knocking on our
Just
doors.
don't talk
Okay.
about Boeing and you're fine.
So let's put it this way. Being in the radar shop, my clearance was a lot higher than Blake's.
Well,
Okay.
for a while it was. We ended up on equal levels.
Oh, you got your top secret too?
Yeah.
Hey, Sam.
Did you ever go in the files?
No, my access was limited, so.
Oh yeah, when they see, the worst thing my shop ever did was assign me as training NCO.
Oh yeah, no,
they
yeah, you told me about that.
Right? They should have never assigned me as training NCO. But anyway, with our clearance level and the fact that I was training NCO, I requested a lot of shit. A lot of shit. Because, like, for example, there's that classic joke of, is the government ready for anything? Yes. Our government has a legit plan in the event of a zombie apocalypse. That's there. They've got it. It's
Let's see
there.
what the think tag for that looked like.
So, but anyway, so I can tell you that a global pandemic was there. They had a plan for it. In my opinion, not a doctor, but in my opinion, it was a damn good plan too. So when I say that they've got a plan in the event of an actual global pandemic, they've got a plan, but that's not what we saw.
In my
Now,
opinion, we
granted,
saw a
the plan
huge
that-
money grab.
The plan that I saw was, was the plan that we had, back in 05, as opposed to whatever we did 15 years later. But
Just to make you feel old, I was 15.
yeah. So, but what I'm saying is I'm saying we had a plan, and that's not what we did.
No.
The execution we performed was not the planned execution. I obviously don't know if the plan changed. I kind of lost access to, looking up things like that when I got out. But I'm just saying.
Also, that plan would have been originated and designed for a system that worked differently, but in most ways much more competently. So the plan may have stayed the same, but the people who were responsible for it might have turned into a bunch of fuckwits.
Well, the medical industry has so much lobbying power anymore. If the plan was meant to be what was right for the people, what's right for the people is not necessarily what's profitable.
That's exactly it. The plan that we had, the people have improved and the technology has improved in the 15 years. Coordination, supply chains, all of that has done nothing but improve over the 15-year gap. So the fact that that complete plan was scrapped and that's not what was implemented says that if you want to say the military is the one that, the military had a plan and that wasn't followed, and you can see what happened from it. But that comes down to your government being bought and paid for.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Because in the event of, we're faced with a global pandemic, you guys can't see the air quotes, but we're faced with a global pandemic.
They were all
We felt them.
Good. And the fact that that was not saving lives, was not 150% of the focus, tells you who's running the government. And that hasn't changed in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And that won't change in the next 4 years.
Well,
or the next 4 years after that.
Probably not. If we live that long, maybe we have a nuclear holocaust.
Maybe we end up in Fallout World. Who knows?
Oh my god, that would be cool.
It would be kind of cool.
You can sell a little gold child for 350 caps.
I just want bats. That's all I want. I'm too lazy to aim anymore.
I'll say one thing. If you want to look at, both of our current presidential candidates, both of them supported the vaccine, right?
Sorry.
In their roundabout ways, Trump was very much ivermectin and like injecting bleach.
Well, that was after it was Biden's vaccine, though, wasn't it?
I'm sure it was Big Pharma's vaccine, but
Right.
Biden probably got to pay off, I'm sure.
So
Vaccine was made for all of the Trump's.
it started off Trump's vaccine, then it became Biden's vaccine. And if you look back on them talking about it, both of them were pushing the idea of it. And ivermectin is cheap, generic, and it's not
Isn't
just
that a horse dewormer, though?
Right? Isn't that a horse dewormer? Oh, when it was made, I think back in 2018, or well, it was finally, I think, approved. It was a wonder drug that was even possibly able to cure cancer. So I don't know. It really pisses me off, the spins, and the spins come from both sides.
That's why I'm never gonna take chemo. If I get fucking cancer, I can suck my dick with the chemo.
But I don't know.
Kill you.
I think we're all kind of looking at how we all got here because the government's bought and paid for, right?
Yes.
It just got more and more corrupt, and more shit got let slide.
We weren't picking the
So to those fans that have listened to multiple podcasts of Blake's, I would like to circle back to the most important thing, which is it's all because we screwed up the process for electing senators. This is FDR's fault.
That's true.
Every kid, I'll blame FDR for a lot of shit.
Yeah. All because he couldn't get his way because the Senate was in the way.
Exactly. It's FDR's fault.
And I think every president has a form of that where it was just like, I don't like this, so I'm just gonna like tweak it a little bit. And more you finally see like the grand architecture is now like an erector set hodgepodge made by a blind kid. It's just
damn.
None of it works. That's actually not fair. I'm sure there's blind people out there that can do a great fucking job with that shit. That was unfair of me.
Far better. Yeah. Oh man.
I have both my fucking eyes and they both work and I can't make shit.
I loved director kits when I was a kid.
I wasn't around for them.
They were great.
They were still being sold and shit. But
I think they are now still.
Taken over. Yeah. Not at Toys R Us. R.I.P.
Ooh. Right in the childhood.
Hey, don't you be talking shit about Toys R Us.
Toys R Us was my jam. I was just too goddamn poor to get anything from there.
Right?
I was middle class. And I certainly didn't have good enough grades to facilitate a Toys R Us.
All right, for the next 5 minutes, if I go robot, just ignore me.
Okay.
Just about covered everything. Where was there something else?
I think. No,
Fuck FDR. New Deal screwed us.
Fuck FDR. Fuck the Senate. Fuck demented old people for trying to run a country. Fuck pussy-grabbing sons of bitches who were trying to run America like a business. Run for president. And you know what? For good measure, fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't like her.
There's some people that are
she got her job.
drastically unlikable. Yeah.
Like you see these people, like Lauren Boebert. It's like, who the fuck asked you? Like someone was sitting in a room and was like, you know what you should do? Run for shit.
Some of these people don't know when to shut their mouths to save themselves. Oh man. No,
I saw one of them put forth the average age of people who signed the Constitution. Some of them were the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and some of them didn't sign anything. And I'm just like, Ms. Green, what are you doing? Paul Revere didn't sign a goddamn thing. He just told us who was coming when.
Your team of people on your social media didn't check their work.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if she put it up herself and just didn't have a PR team. Because I feel like any team worth their salt would be like, ma'am, come here.
No,
madam,
don't send that.
You hit the backspace button as fast as you can, fucker.
Oh man.
Well, there's one important thing to remember when you're talking about averaging, the average person.
Well,
And that's that averages sometimes make no sense, but everybody spins it.
yeah.
Because remember, like I told you, Blake, the average person has an above average number of eyes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're going to have to back up because I wasn't there for that conversation.
That's all you
What?
got.
That's it. The average person has an above average number of eyes.
Not everybody has two eyes because they've lost
Not
one.
everybody has two eyes, or the average is less than two. The average person has two. So the average person has an above average number of eyes.
Wow. That's wild.
It's the difference between mathematics and
Because nobody's
statistics.
got three. Nobody's got three, so there's nobody to average out the one.
Hey now, you can't say that nobody has three. I'm sure somebody does.
So
It's too small of a number to bump that average above two.
Those are rookie
Far
numbers.
more
You gotta
people
get
that did something
gotta get the
stupid and
ocular
lost one.
numbers up.
But
yeah, I guarantee the threes aren't averaging out. I've seen fireworks displays.
yeah.
Never look down the mortar tube.
See, this is one where we can beat on that let's circle back joke again, and also go back to something we talked about earlier, how the increasingly large amount of money going into the education system is producing individuals that should not be voted in.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a generation of fucking stooges. Now, I will say this for Gen Z. They're fucking kicking ass with their bullshit. Like, I thought millennials were out of pocket. But Gen Z is just doing the most work right now.
You were about to say something,
see,
John?
and I would like to argue that Blake, am I going robot?
No,
you did
you're
just a
fine.
little bit, but you can come. You're coming through.
Okay. So Blake, your statement of the education system, blah blah blah, people vote office.
Right.
That's a horse before cart scenario, because the people that are getting voted into office are all in their 40s and 50s. They are not the result of this increased budget in the education system.
That's true.
The
But I will say though that our generation.
Florida.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I think you're breaking up now.
Yeah, you guys go on. I'll circle back.
I hear what you're saying. The horse before the cart, and yes, the public schools hadn't been as drastically hit in our generation, but they were well into the college campuses by that point in time, which, like, to be fair to college campuses, a lot of those are academics at that, that are running the college campuses, and they're going to lean a little bit more liberal. It's their idea generation places, and that's perfectly fine. But when you have such a crap load of bureaucracy that's been placed on the college campuses at this time, and it's no longer just about academics anymore, that had already been starting in our generation. So
Yeah.
Back in the 60s and 70s.
Fuck. We're supposed to vote in November, so I'm gonna pick Biden just because I like having my HRT meds, and Trump is one scary ass motherfucker, and not for any of the good reasons you would want in a leader.
yeah, I feel you on that one.
But I fucking hate that.
No, I feel
It's
you
like
on that
fucking
one.
cardboard in my mouth when I say it.
I mean, I get it. I don't like either of the candidates either. I'm probably gonna, if it comes down to it, if that's what I'm forced to vote for, because I'm certainly not voting for Chase Oliver.
Did everyone die?
Can you hear me?
Is Chase Oliver the libertarian
Oh,
the
damn it, my
libertarian
headphones
candidate?
died.
Yes, I can hear
I'll be
you.
right back.
I
Yeah,
can hear
Chase
you.
Oliver is the libertarian candidate that they put forward.
Yep. I'm voting libertarian, so I vote. Doesn't matter.
Can't.
Hello. I can hear or see that you're trying to come through. Everybody's breaking up now. Test, test, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Waiting for the. Oh, and you just jumped off.
Hey.
Hey, looks like we got everybody back. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand why you were saying you were going to vote for Biden. For very much so I'm unhappy with the two-party candidates as well, but I'm also unhappy with Chase Oliver. If it came down to it, and I was forced to choose, like we were discussing on the last one, I would probably vote for Trump for the reason that I do feel like it would be a bump for the U.S. economy, which would help out, people in the short term, rather than more inflation. That's the only real deciding factor there for me.
Oh, you're getting more inflation whether you like it or not.
Oh,
Yeah, that's just happening.
Maybe not as much. Maybe we wouldn't be sending, trillions of dollars to, fund foreign wars. I don't know, but I'm hoping. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, we can all agree it's not a good decision either way.
My choice comes down to, people's rights.
Right. No, I understand where you're
And
coming from.
yeah.
There's not a lot of conservatives that are as understanding as the majority, honestly. Well,
Right.
let's
And
just say that
when-
the conservatives in power are not as understanding as the majority actually is.
I would love anyone who's like to make a decision on like gay rights or anything. You need to show me your fucking browser history, because if I see lesbian porn in your fucking history, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. It's like, we don't believe in non-traditional marriage. It's like, no, you don't like guys who fuck guys. Like, be honest. You're absolutely cool if two chicks go at it, but as soon as guys are holding hands, now it's gay.
Oh man,
it's like trans people are coming for your kids. I'm like, huh? I thought it was preachers and Boy Scout leaders and all that other shit. But you're right. To Catch a Predator was filmed at a trans woman's house every day.
Yeah, run the statistics on that. It's not trans. Trans is not the issue.
No.
Nope. We make up 1% of the global population, and you're saying we're the reason for all of this.
Oh man.
It's like, we can't even remember to take our fucking meds on time, let alone premeditate crimes like that shit.
Oh man.
I have to count my fucking estrogen pills. Like, yo, did I take it for the last 3 days? Like, where am I at here?
No,
The answer is usually no, I didn't.
they have to find something that irritates someone on some level. That way they can motivate them to make really bad decisions, right?
Or even just manufacture irritation
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
of, you know, the propagandist attitude. It's just like nobody had a problem with us. Like 5-6 years ago, nobody gave a fuck. Like
You gotta
trans
think
people have
about
been
it.
around all of history.
Well, think about it. Like, you know, trans individuals existed before all of this debate started, right?
Yeah, all throughout history, like they're in fucking ancient ass records, you
I
know?
would love to know where the idea of pushing, like saying a 10-year-old should take puberty blockers, who actually started that idea?
It's not so much an idea. And generally it's not with 10-year-olds because they haven't even
Right.
hit puberty yet.
Exactly.
And you know, the blockers are reversible. You stop taking them, puberty resumes as normal. But as one who didn't start medically transitioning until I was 30, I would have loved to have the option when I was 12 because I knew then I was well aware of what was going on,
And
but I
like I
didn't
said,
have that option.
well, and you know, like a lot of doctors have actually said, you know, there's not very many individuals at that young of an age that could actually make that kind of clear, concise decision at that time, though. And it was up to psychologists and doctors to make
Still
any
is.
kind of determination on that. And
Yep.
so it wasn't often. It wasn't anything that came up very often. That's something that was never even on the radar. Who put it in people's minds that the doctor's opinion should not be followed? And let's just
I mean,
fast track
that's
that kind of stuff, right?
the same argument as like, well, people weren't as gay back in the day. It's like, no,
No,
you
they
just had
were.
to shut your mouth. They definitely were. They just shut the fuck up about it. So the same goes for, well, there weren't this many trans people. It's like, that you know of, motherfucker.
Right. But what I'm saying
like-
is they're taking issues like that. They're making an actual problem out of something that wasn't a problem before so that they can complain about it.
Right.
And that's
And-
where I feel like that's manufactured. That wasn't something that occurred naturally. That was manufactured.
For sure. And the people who like to say like, oh, they're just putting kids on this shit. Even as an adult, I had to be in therapy and psychiatry and have a psych eval for one whole ass year.
Right now.
What was that?
All right, can I steal the soapbox?
Oh, he's talking to somebody else. Okay.
No, he wants the soapbox. Go ahead.
Soapbox.
Oh, soapbox, go.
Okay. All right, so
You're
Now,
very
I-
muted.
can you hear me better now?
Nope.
Hold on a second. Let me grab some headphones. Just a second.
Where's the camera thing?
He moved it. And you asked.
Nah, he muted himself. I don't know. That's my thought on it. Is you have to motivate people by attacking things that are near and dear, right? So kids is something that's always going to be an issue that's going to be near and dear to people's hearts. They'll be motivated by anything having to do with danger to kids, right?
Right.
So that's how you manufacture a narrative.
Right. Especially when you look at like the mental health findings of, you know, adolescents who are able to make those decisions for themselves. I'm not saying like 10-year-olds, but when you're in your teens and shit,
Mm-hmm.
suicide rate drops a lot. Like, shit. Kids, adults. I've tried to off myself 3 times. Ain't thought about it since I got my life right.
Well, I'll on that same subject, talking about kids. I mean, how do you think the whole toxic masculinity movement affects young boys, for instance? You're basically, and to me, it's like you're attacking individuals. Well, it's not just boys too; it's boys and girls. I mean, it's attacking individuals that are trying to figure out things at a very difficult time in mental development and demonizing half of them.
I mean, I think just like any other thing, it can be taken way too far.
Yeah,
But we do have a very prevalent rape culture. You know, how many guys have you heard? We were all in the service. She was asking for it. Shouldn't have been dressed like that. I don't know why she was out so late alone. Like, we have a culture where that shit is just normal to say, when we should be looking at it like,
And
should men just do better?
even going way beyond that, when you look at just the super common phrasing along the lines of, how many drinks will it take her to get drunk?
Exactly. And it's just like, are you buying her drinks because you're looking to have a good time? Or is it solely because you think it'll increase your odds and diminish her capacity to realize you're kind of a chode?
So anyways, can you guys hear me better now?
much better.
Yes.
Okay. So back to the soapbox that I stole.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. So acknowledging transvestite, not transsexual. Obviously, I acknowledge the difference between those. We have had a transvestite.
I'll help you out with
president.
that one. Intersex is the word now. Transvestite's just like really commonly used, like derogatorily. Now we just call them intersex because they're somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I'm more specifically referring to a Rocky Horror Picture Show. But yeah.
Oh, those are cross-dressers.
Well, transvestite was the phrasing for it when that came out. But yes.
Cross-dressers now, bitches.
Right? They don't even get their own group. But anyway, yeah, we've had a president that was of that camp.
Who?
Hoover.
Just wasn't common
Really?
knowledge.
J. Edgar Hoover.
Damn.
Big time.
Hoover damn.
I don't know. I think that there's a whole thing being pushed, though, like destruction of language, destruction of things that are, and for instance, the whole thing like demonizing, masculinity, and almost approving of, the toxic feminine to a certain degree, because it pits two sides against each other. You got two sides of something, they're going to find a way to pit them against each other. I think that's the big narrative right now, and that's how they're getting everyone polarized against each other.
I found a way around it. I have 4 daughters. I don't teach them that there are masculine traits or feminine traits. They are just traits. There are admirable and honorable traits. Being protective is not a masculine thing. It's the right thing to do.
Well, I mean,
So they don't know that, these things are attributed to a gender. They're just something that they can encompass themselves. So I think that's going to keep them out of the, this is toxic masculinity. It's like, no, you're just kind of a dick. Like, because if you were a woman, you'd still be a dick.
yeah. I mean, I think that, the psychology very clearly shows that there are things that are more common in one than the other, but that's the generalization. And, that generalization being what it is, I mean, we all know the tomboy, right? I don't see that as any kind of derogatory term. That's, it just is what it is. And, that's just a woman that happens to be a little bit more masculine. That's all it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I see where you're coming from, and I agree, but I also understand where those ideas came from. There are things that are more common, on one side or the other. But yeah, it's not just toxic on one side. It's the same thing on the other. You're absolutely right.
And that's why I just want them to recognize, those traits in anyone. So they're not specifically looking at this from a man, but just from any person. Because,
Yeah.
one of my daughters already had a crush on her teacher,
Oh no.
Miss Kane. And I'm just like, you little queer.
Oh no.
Love you. So I could see one of them's already leaning the other way. So, I want them to be able to spot those negative traits in whoever they end up with. Or the friends they surround themselves with.
Yeah.
But my headset's about to die again. And I have a date with my partner and some Minecraft.
Well, I feel like we've gone longer than we intended, but we sidetracked all over the place.
We did, and that's what I love about this. It's only an hour and 13. We racked up 2 hours last time.
Oh yeah, we touched on a lot. I didn't realize we were going to talk so much about, two fools.
Right? Imagine the Jewish lady talking a lot. There's a trope in there somewhere.
Anyway, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up. What do you? Well, actually, it would be Don's turn to pick a topic this time, I guess. So I'll get with him about that. He's obvious. I mean, more power to him for showing up, but he's obviously having some difficulties right now.
Indeed.
Anyway,
But yeah, you guys figure that out. If you want me here next time, just let me know.
all right, we'll do. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.